Hello students, I am Chef Sundar Srinivasan from AI SSMS, College of Hotel Management and Catering Technology, Pune. In this session of Food Safety Management Systems, we will discuss on Chapter 9, that is Improvement of the Food Safety Management System. This will be a series, it is not one or two sessions, it will be a series. So, what is validation of control measure combinations? But we need to first understand a little background. This session will be more on a prerequisite for validation, not exactly validation, a prerequisite, some things that are required before validation. And then in the further sessions, we will go into actual validation. So the control of hazards potentially associated with foods typically involves the application of control measures in the food chain from primary production through processing to consumption. In the current environment of systems-based food safety controls, it provides flexibility with the selection of control measures. So you can have variety of control measures that can be applied. So validation of these control measures acquires increased importance. So today, so you need to validate these control measures. So that is why it has become important, and validation is one of the very important steps. It is through the validation process that one demonstrates that the selected control measures are actually capable on a consistent basis of achieving the intended level of hazard control. So this will determine exactly whether your process measures or controls that you are adopting is actually giving you the right kind of output and results. So what the document of ISO says: prior to implementation of control measures to be included in the OPRPs and the HACCP plan, and after any change therein, the organization shall validate. So we have to actually validate that the selected control measures are capable of achieving the intended control of the food safety hazard for which they are designated. So whatever steps you have planned, whether is it actually working as against what you had planned. The control measures are effective and capable of, in combination, ensuring control of the identified food safety hazards to obtain end products that meet the defined acceptable levels. So whatever control measures which are effective, they are capable, whether it is a single measure or it's a combination of more than two measures, they are ensuring that whatever food safety hazard has been identified, whether they are brought under control and are they meeting the levels that are actually acceptable. So if the result of the validation shows that one or both of the above elements cannot be confirmed, the control measure or combination shall be modified and reassessed. So basically, if they're not, if your whatever control measures you have adopted is not working, so you need to reassess whatever measures you're doing. So that part we'll be doing in our further sessions. Modifications may include changes in control measures, in your parameters or rigorousness or the combination of measures, raw materials, or whatever technology, equipment that you're using, whether you need to really look into the product characteristics, especially the end product, what kind of method distribution is being adopted, storage maybe, and what is the intended use of the end products. All these things needs to be visited in case there is any modification that is going to be required. Now, what is the purpose of validation exactly? So validation focuses on the collection and evaluation of scientific, technical, and observational information to determine whether control measures are applicable of achieving their specified purpose in terms of hazard control. So whatever we have identified, whether they are going to actually work. And validation involves measuring performance against a desired food safety outcome or target in respect of a required level of hazard control. So what kind of control you're going to exercise and to what extent it is going to be exercised. Now there is a confusion also about what is validation, what is monitoring, and what is verification. Right now we'll just concentrate on validation. In our further sessions we'll discuss on monitoring and verification and how they are different from validation as well. So we move on to hazard analysis and validation. Now hazard analysis and risk-based preventive control mechanisms refer to effective science-based tools and activities to ensure food safety. So they are basically scientific based mechanisms that we are supposed to look into. The preventive approach to safe food manufacturing is comprehensive, including prerequisite programs and process control. So whatever we have designed will all be a part of this particular system that you are developing. Now we come to the question. Now there is a big question, that how do we ensure as manufacturers, so let's talk about as manufacturers, that your processes are designed and implemented correctly to achieve this food safety goal. So what exactly has to come in mind? That is process validation. We need to validate the process properly to ensure everything is going to be fine. Okay, so validation, definition of validation. Now obtaining evidence that a control measure or combination of control measures, if properly implemented, is capable of controlling the hazard to a specific outcome. That is what is validation. So whatever control measure or measures that we are going to apply or utilize or put into force, what intensity of implementation is going to be there, they are going to control the hazard to a specific outcome that we are looking at. So what does validation focus on? Now, before I go to what does validation focus on, so what is given here at the bottom of the screen, if you see, Codex Alimentarius guidelines all for the validation of food safety control measures, CAC GL 69 2008. Let's understand a little that in 2008, Codex Alimentarius, which is referred to as Codex very commonly, this published a standard guidelines for the validation of food safety control measures. Now this represents a major benchmark, because this very clearly separates validation from verification in the practice of HACCP. It is an excellent document with respect to validation. That is, it is needed to follow the HACCP procedures and with respect to its scope. So it can be applied in to many of the existing control measures, as it incorporates, there's a 5-step process that is involved. We are not going into the 5-step process right now. So it focuses on collection and evaluation of information. Okay, so basically what kind of approach is going to be there, what kind of control measure is going to be there, what kind of science or scientific background that you are going to use, what kind of technical details that is going to be there, observational and measuring performance of the process against a desired food safety outcome or target. So basically these things it will focus upon when you are actually doing the validation part. So when do we validate a process? So a question comes that when does validation come into force? Why or where does it actually come into play? So there are two parts in this. One is external drivers. So we'll go to the next one later. So external, let's say drivers or what your business needs. So first one is R&D, ingredient innovation. So whenever there are, you are intending on innovations of certain products of your own, at that time you require validation. When there is optimization in your processes, any changes you need to get validated. Market changes, any changes in the market that is going to or may affect your process. Any new scientific information that comes in and which is not there with you, if you have to put it into your system again, you might need to validate the process again. Emergence of a new hazard or higher risk product. So if the product is having higher risk or any new potential hazard has been identified, and it is not yet identified at your end, maybe you have a chance to validate your process again. And regulatory changes or consumer complaints. Whenever there are consumer complaints, when they are high, you need to introspect and look into maybe your process and look again to validate your product properly. And if there are any regulatory changes, yes, you need to ensure you incorporate and validate your process. The second part is internal process changes within the organization. When there are any internal changes that happen, so new equipment or reconfiguration of current equipment. So if there is any changes involved, you're introducing a new equipment, you have to ensure that it is validated into your system, into your operations, and the results are expected as per what you are looking for. So it might be any equipment that comes into play, even an old equipment. If you are going to reset it with some new settings, again you need to ensure that you need to validate it. Product formulation changes. So any changes in your formula or whatever changes are going to occur, you need to ensure that validation is occurring. If you're introducing a new process or you're adding a new process into your original one, then again you need to have a validation setup done for your process. New hazard, new technology defined. I would very clearly say no, new hazard, new technology defined. New hazard, recently we have seen the outbreak of corona, and all of a sudden we have found that within the organization a lot of changes in your process, sanitization, all has changed. So again, this process needs to be verified, it has to be validated to ensure that zero transmission occurs. So again, validation comes into play. So this is a very good example that can be put as your internal process as well. So there are a few steps involved in let's say in your validation. Step one, I would say, before you actually go into your validation. So although most of the food products undergo a supposed kill step at a point of production, most of the time it is cooking. At this cooking stage, you have maximum control that is happening. So these control points lack scientific validation. So validation is a preemptive scientific evaluation that provides documented evidence that a particular process like baking, frying, sauteing or boiling, they are capable of consistently delivering a product that meets predetermined specification. In other words, it's a collection of scientific proof that a particular process involving whatever physical, chemical, biological inputs is consistently delivering a desired effect to ensure the destruction of whatever pathogens and microorganisms. And often you record this. So very simple, if you're going to have your product which is going to be boiled, consistent output is received or not. That is what is it. And if it is coming, how are you going to validate saying that it is actually giving you your expected results that we are intending to? So let's see, the first part is conduct background research. Yeah. So in this one, when you conduct background research, is you have to see a history or look behind whether were there any product recalls for this particular product, interesting characteristics of these products, what are the process parameters for these particular product or whatever you are intending to do, what are the previous risk assessments done for such kind of processes, is there any publication for it which you can refer to, and what are the local, federal, or you can say state or national or any international regulations and guidelines that need to be put into effect at your step. Continuing the second part of this, to identify hazards like pathogens that is intended to be controlled, taking into account all relevant information. So question, what does your search tell you about your hazard and its challenges? So research prevalence and outbreak data, severity of hazard, like what will happen if this hazard is broken out? So what is the extremest case that you will be looking at, and is there any data for such kind of hazard that has happened earlier? So we look into the product history and whether it has been used, how it has been used, all questions related to that. And once you identify the hazard, you're going to investigate if the industry or any competent authority do they have any guidelines for that hazard. So if someone has already faced an issue with it and how they have handled it, who has handled it, and whether you can do the same. Consider a surrogate, any substitute that you can consider at that particular stage, and understand characteristics of target hazard with regard to intrinsic features of the food material. So whatever food material is being used, what are the various compositions, nutrients, everything that is there, and is there anything of that is going to cause effect sometime later, or is it going to harm or become unstable or become a potentially hazard, could become a potential hazard. Next is identify typical or recommended process and equipment used to control the hazard. So what did your research tell you about your process? So before I go into this. Okay, I'll do it later. So for this question, you consider the potential effectiveness of the process or the equipment to control the hazard. So the equipment that you're using, how effective is it going to be? Considering the location of the control measure to account for separation of treated product after process. So where exactly in your process is it going to lie, and whether it is going to have, what stage it is going to be utilized. Identify the worst case conditions that could happen in the process, that could happen during the manufacture process, and what things could be done at that moment. Determine if that control measure is one step or a combination of steps, so whether it is going to have more than one or a single control measure. And certain other considerations we need to think. What is the stage that is going to come after validation? So what kind of monitoring and verification activities are going to happen? Variability of control measures, different variables that could affect in your system, which could be in the step, maybe in the humidity, the temperature. The variability of food, the incoming food might also have different characteristic each time. You might not have the same thing. Adequate resources committed, like human resource maybe, and money also may be involved. So all these points also need to be thought of when you are performing your validation, or when you're planning to perform your validation. So this validation has always been a part of HACCP, hazard analysis and critical control point system. So it has an even greater issue in today's FSMS, in food safety management system. So it was mandated that validation of CCPs have to be done from 1989, when HACCP was actually introduced. So FSMS also requires that some or all the food safety systems be validated. So even though this has been required since day one, many people still avoid this particular step. So we will go on to step 2 and 3 in our later session, which will be continuing later on. So thank you all, students. Hope we gained some insight into the steps that are required before you actually do the validation process. Students of AI SSMS, College of Hotel Management and Catering Technology, can click on the given link below and attempt the quiz. These were the references used for our particular session today. Once again, thank you all and happy learning.